Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of September 30, Monday. I'm Riza Diaz. We begin today's rush with some local government units declaring class suspensions today because of the ongoing transport strike. In Metro Manila, classes in all levels are suspended in the following areas: Caloocan, Las Piñas, Malabon, Marikina, Muntinlupa, Parañaque, Pasay, Pasig, Pateros, San Juan, Taguig, and Valenzuela. Now, likewise in the towns of Los Baños, Mahayhay, Rizal, and Santa Cruz in Laguna. Now, the same thing goes for the entire province of Cavite and Pampanga, as well as Masbate City, San Mateo, Rizal, and Tiaong, Quezon. But in the city of Manila, only college and graduate school students have no classes today. In Quezon City, elementary school or elementary to high school students in public schools have no classes, but this is in celebration of the World Teachers' Day. Now, while in Baguio City, preschool to elementary classes are suspended. Now, over in Visayas, several areas have also declared class suspensions in all levels. These include Rojas in Capiz, Iloilo City, and Bacolod, Bago, and Talisay in Negros Occidental. Now, some schools also took the liberty to suspend its classes in all levels. You may check them out on the screen. Malacanang insists it's not intimidated with the ongoing transport strike. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said the modernization of the public transport system is long overdue, and the administration will not be cowed by threats of protest and strikes coming from those who only think of their own parochial interests. Now, while the government will not dissuade PUV drivers and operators to join the nationwide protest, Malacanang cautioned them to assemble peacefully and not perform acts of violence. Because if they will, Panelo said, the government will enforce pertinent laws, rules, and regulations, including the cancellation of their franchises or certificates of public convenience. And here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Filipino Star ngayon reports that 2 inmates died and at least 30 were injured following the riot at the Manila City Jail on Sunday. Now, the clash started from an argument between 2 inmates from rival groups Batang City Jail and Sputnik Gang. Now, the City Jail was put on temporary lockdown after the incident, but now operations are back to normal. This one from the Philippine Star. Just before the Senate tackles the issue of the so-called ninja cops in a public hearing, a former barangay watchman who served within alleged Manila drug queen Gia Gomez Castro's already shot dead. Now, one of the members of the Sigma Rho fraternity was allegedly involved in the hazing activities at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, has died. This comes after screenshots of group chats among members of the fraternity regarding hazing surfaced online. Now, the university has placed the students involved in the preventive suspension, including 2 student council officers. Now, in light of the recent death, UPD's Office of the Chancellor is now calling on its students, faculty, staff, and the general public to stop posting and forwarding social media messages related to his death to respect the privacy of his family. Now, the administration also vowed to keep the public posted on possible updates regarding the case. However, it maintained that sensationalism is a form of assault and won't solve anything. Now, another suspected case of hazing, this time at the Bureau of Fire Protection. Authorities are still determining whether the death of fireman Clinton Obedoza was due to maltreatment. Obedoza was one of the 30 firemen who attended the BFP's special rescue unit training in Calamba, Laguna. He complained of stomach pains during the training and reportedly collapsed afterwards. Now, 3 days later, Obedoza died of multiple organ failure despite having no record of any pre-existing medical condition. The Fire Bureau says they will get to the bottom of this.
Every stone will have to be unturned, no, to see the matter of kung anong pinagmulan, kung mayroon bang traces of something. So that will have to be investigated upon.
Now, in the wake of the hazing incident at the PMA, its officials are now looking into ways to end the violence inside the academy. Their solution for the meantime, mandatory physical exam, mental health checks, and empowering upperclassmen to do policing within their ranks. Justin Punsalang has the report.
After the death of Cadet 4th Class Darwin Dormitorio, the PMA is now looking to conduct a mandatory physical exam among all its cadets to find out if there are more students who have been maltreated.
To see if there are marks on the bodies of the cadets, because if there are marks, this indicates that there might have been maltreatment. No? So hindi naman ibig sabihin may markings ka, kagad-agad hazing yon. No? But of course, we have to, pag nakita natin yung markings, we have to do an investigation.
Newly appointed Cadet Commandant Romeo Bronner added that they will be more keen on observing cadets who frequent the Academy's hospital.
Pag pumunta sa hospital yung kadete, we will right away investigate bakit ka nandito, ano yung sakit mo. No? So we will not wait for that markings. So, pero more than that, no, proactive tayo. We're not just going to look at the cadets who are sick. No? Pati yung ibang mga kadete na walang sakit.
The Academy will also implement further counseling, particularly for freshmen, to ensure the mental well-being of cadets.
Of course, pagkagaling nila ng plebhood, yung first year, maraming medyo na trauma dyan. No? And then of course, when they become upper class, we have to make sure that they don't have that trauma already. Hopefully, mawala nga yung trauma nila, and once they become upperclassmen, wala silang war shock, kumbaga. No?
Ano po bang effect kung meron silang trauma growing up to?
Sometimes, no. I'm not a doctor, no. I'm not a but then sometimes it could lead to violent tendencies, violent behavior.
Bronner says there are several cadets now recovering at the PMA hospital after having undergone hazing rites, but he refused to detail how many. With the death of Dormitorio, Bronner vowed to wage a war on hazing inside the academy and urged other institutions with a similar problem to help end the culture of violence.
Definitely, some would practice that, yung code of silence, culture of silence. No? Kaya nga dun sa aking speech, when I took over as Commandant of Cadets, I said, we should replace the culture of violence and the culture of silence, no, with a culture of peace.
To help with this goal, Bronner says they are looking into bringing back the first-class system, where first-class cadets or fourth-year graduating students will be given power to administer punishments and demerits to erring underclassmen.
Sila mismo ang magko-correct ng sarili nila. No? They police their ranks. Yung fourth years are the big brothers of the first years kasi dapat sa kanila, sa mga fourth-year cadets, pwedeng magsumbong yung mga first year.
For News 5, Justine Punsalang, we are One News.
Fast break now to Sports Rush at the PBA's doubleheader Sunday. NLEX keeps its Commissioners Cup slate clean with a 115-109 win over the Blackwater Elite. That's 3-0 for the Road Warriors as the Elite got handed its second straight defeat. Now, there were some standouts for Blackwater, though, with rookie Ray Parks Jr. fetching 28 points, while Paul Desiderio chipped in a career high of 24. But NLEX import Olu Ashalu and Kiefer Ravenna proved to be the deadlier combo, combining for 56 big markers and sending their squad to atop the conference standings. And joining Blackwater in the cellar is the Alaska Aces, who suffered its third straight defeat in the hands of some hot shooting beermen. San Miguel showed no mercy on the Aces' badly depleted lineup, pulling away as early as the second frame. The beermen stepped on the gas and Alaska was left in the rut 109-83. Des Wells even enjoyed shorter minutes with coach Leo Austria utilizing his deep bench and giving 12 players their time on the hard court. But that's just not enough for Wells, who bagged 25 points and 7 rebounds.
Coach put us in a good position. Chris Ross did a hell of a job. Alex did a great job. You know, the rest of the team, everybody stepped up. So, you know, this is a team effort, and I'm just glad we could come away to win. Alaska's a good team, man. They fought really hard.
Typhoon Onyok has slowed down as it continues to move towards the northern border of the Philippine Area of Responsibility. Now, to tell us more on this, we have with us on the line Jomaila Garrido from the Pag-asa Weather Forecasting Center. Jomaila, good morning. Are there any tropical cyclone wind signal warnings raised in the country today?
Yes, today there is a tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 over Batanes and Babuyan Islands.
Okay, so we're looking at a Typhoon Onyok based on your satellite reports. What is the location or his exact location and the track it's heading to?
As of 4 a.m. today, the eye of the Typhoon Onyok was located based on all available data at 180 km northeast of Basco, Batanes. Its movement is moving toward northwest at 20 km per hour.
Is it still expected to make landfall or will it exit Philippine Area of Responsibility soon?
As of today, Typhoon Onyok is less likely to make landfall in the country throughout the forecast period, and it is forecast to exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility tonight.
Jomaila, how about gale warnings? Do we have any?
Yes, we have a gale warning, and so sea travel is risky, especially for small sea crafts over the northern and eastern seaboards of Luzon, including those areas under tropical cyclone wind signal number 1.
Earlier today here in Metro Manila, there were rain. Will it be a rainy weather today, Monday?
Today, Metro Manila, we are expecting a generally fair weather, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and possible rain showers, especially during afternoon and evening due to localized thunderstorms.
Finally, how about other weather disturbances? Are we seeing any?
Aside from Typhoon Onyok, we are not monitoring any weather disturbances.
Thank you. That was Pag-asa weather forecaster Jomaila Garrido. Circling back to our top story, the nationwide transport strike happens today. Have you found your way to get to your destination yet? Well, in the meantime, we have Hannibal Telete with the latest report live from Monumento. We'll get back to Hannibal Telete in a few. Meanwhile, another possible hazing victim was found in San Pablo, Laguna. Despite suffering internal and external injuries, the 18-year-old student has lived to tell the tale. Greg Gregorio with the story.
At around 11 in the morning on September 23, 18-year-old criminology student Jonathan Concordia collapsed at his school's gym in Laguna State Polytechnic University in San Pablo, Laguna. Concordia had been transferred to several hospitals before he was brought to Manila. Aside from stroke, which was the immediate cause of his collapse, it was found that he had large bruises on his lower extremities and burn marks from melted candles on his back. Authorities say his injuries could possibly mean that Jonathan was a victim of hazing. A week later, the victim is still confined at the hospital. Despite being in a stable condition, Jonathan needs to go through another CT scan on Tuesday because of the swelling in his brain.
Dahil nga po dito sa sobrang dami ng pasa sa kanyang lower extremities, yung hematoma na yun, ayun yung umakyat sa tindi ng pressure, umakyat dun sa utak. Pag nakita nila na talagang hindi natutunaw or mas malaki pa yung pagka, magdi-decide sila ng operahan itong ulo ng pasyente.
But his family is still grateful that he can now speak and was able to narrate his experience.
Yung taong kang mapi.
Anong ginawa ng frat? Anong ginawa ng fraternity?
Slap me.
Saan?
In my legs.
Kailan yun nangyari?
September 15 to Talisa. Sunday yun.
Saan?
Nabuta ako.
Concordia recalled that he skipped ROTC to join the fraternity with 4 other classmates. They were called the Fantastic Five. This was confirmed by one of his aunts. She said that she saw the group chat of the fraternity after opening her nephew's Facebook account. The group had been talking about how Jonathan collapsed and how he was assisted that day. Included in the conversation was one person called GT, who is also a criminology student.
Yun ang dito yung master namin yun. I guess it's a higher level.
The police are still confirming who GT was in the group chat because most of them were using code names.
Sa ngayon po, tuloy-tuloy po yung coordination natin sa school para po makuha po natin yung mga pangalan ng mga members ng nasabing fraternity group.
The school administration has vowed to help in the investigation, but Jonathan's family is appealing for the fraternity members to surrender.
Hindi pa namin alam kung hanggang saan at kung hanggang kailan yung possible na magiging okay siya. So please lang, maki-operate kayo kung sino man yung mga nakakaalam at may alam.
If proven guilty, those involved will face charges for committing serious physical injury and violating the anti-hazing law. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Now let's go back to our top story. The nationwide transport strike happens today. And again, we have found, or we're asking you if you've found your way to get to your destination. Well, in the meantime, we have Hannibal Telete reporting from Monumento. Hannibal, magandang umaga. Kamusta ng sitwasyon dyan?
Reserve right now, transport groups are holding a protest in the Monumento Circle here in Caloocan. Groups such as Piston, we have reported, are demanding the postponement of the implementation of the PUV modernization program for another 3 years. Jeepney drivers and operators have since voiced out how the phase-out program is anti-poor and does not have enough measures to help stakeholders transition. Despite the threat of cancellation of their franchise of PUV, some drivers and operators here in Caloocan vow to join the transport strike. Government officials have said they will not be intimidated by the nationwide strike, adding that the modernization program, which is set for implementation next year, is long overdue. Risa, the LTFRB have already ordered the deployment of additional buses to help commuters who are affected during nationwide transport strike. Number coding scheme for private vehicles, meanwhile, has been lifted. Riza?
Thank you. That was Hannibal Telete reporting from Monumento. And here are the stories to watch out for later today. As the nationwide transport strike continues, transport cooperatives who are for PUV modernization program will face the media to share their side of the issue. Meanwhile, groups against the sexual orientation, gender identity and expression or SOGI bill will also stage their protest action at the Senate grounds. And the Education Department will kick off the celebration of a National Rabies Day at their headquarters in Pasig. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.